What is culture? What do people think of when we use that word? What is culture? Tradition, values, lifestyle, language. Can human beings live without culture? Can they? No. Can a spider live without a web? Do spiders have to be taught to make webs? No. Spiders are web makers. They're web weavers. Ducks are swimmers. You don't have to teach them how to swim. Human beings are culture makers. We make culture. Do we have a Muslim culture in the United States today? Fatima? We've got 7 million Muslims, so we've got to have a culture. But the question is that culture sound? Is that culture successful? Because although there are a lot of differences in America, the fact is that many Muslims in the United States live in or have rejected and live outside of the mosque subculture, which very few people can tolerate, and which, as Dr. Lang pointed out, tends to chase people away from the faith. I've seen that. You've seen that. I saw a brother in Chicago, for example, become a Muslim and go into a particular mosque on the north side with 3 gold rings in his ear. And of course, some ignoramus has to come up to him and tell him, brother, that's haram. And whether it's haram or not, you've got to be wise, right? Don't get in people's faces. And so he said, I didn't become a Muslim for that. I didn't become a Muslim for this. And he left Islam. Or you have a woman that becomes a Muslim. And she's got long fingernails that are painted red, and she comes into the mosque, and so another ignoramus comes up to her and tells her, sister, this is haram. And so she leaves the faith altogether. Now, who is haram? Who is haram? Who is the enemy of the faith? You know, open the door for the people. Look, you know, don't look at the world through a keyhole. Open the door wide. So we do have a culture. And in some places that culture is very beautiful. And I can also mention to you mosque subcultures that are really decent and good. But basically we have the mosque subculture, and then we have another subculture, which is what? What? No, I'm not talking about ethnic groups, but Arabs have it, Pakistanis have it, Indians have it. The home subculture. And a lot of us live from one to the other, right? You come out of the mosque, you run back home, you run from the home to the mosque. So we do have a culture, but this culture right now is not sound and it is not successful. It's not working right. As Dr. Lang said, you know, in Chicago we've got 350,000 Muslims, maybe more than that. But I don't doubt that in Chicago there are 350,000 Muslims, probably over 700,000 in greater New York, the global cities, Los Angeles. How many of them belong to mosques? I really think the figures that Dr. Lang mentioned are probably very appropriate. A very small percentage, because most of them cannot tolerate or be tolerated there. They're driven away. This is very serious. So we have got to create a culture that is wise and understanding and appropriate. And then we will become this incredible community that we hopefully can become.